Welcome to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where you can learn and be inspired by real-world examples of how technology is transforming businesses and reshaping industries in a language everyone can understand. Here is your host, Neil C. Hughes.
Welcome back to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast, where every day I explore how technology is transforming an industry. I think it's fair to say that every industry is going to fall into that category here in 2020. And today I've invited Eric Smuda, VP of CX at the customer experience platform InMoment, onto the podcast. And I invited Eric on to discuss how the CX space has shifted over the course of the pandemic, as well as what he sees on the horizon. And I also want to learn how they've recently rolled out a new suite of solutions that's aimed at experience improvement, designed to better meet its clients' shifting needs. So buckle up and hold on tight so I can beam your ears all the way to Naples, Florida, where Eric is waiting to speak with us. So a massive warm welcome to the show. Can you tell the listeners a little about who you are and what you do?
Yeah, my name is Eric Smuda, and I'm what we call a principal in our XI strategy and enablement team, which, a lot of big fuzzy words there. What it really means is I serve as a pre-sales and post-sales CX consultant. So I work with our clients on helping them have a more robust and a more mature CX program that really is focused on delivering better economic returns for their company.
And as someone that has had a hugely successful career in tech, I'm curious, can you remember where that love of tech came from? And does it still drive you to this day?
Oh, absolutely. I'm at the age where I was really just starting my career when the internet started taking off and people started getting email addresses and things. And so very early in my career, understood the benefit of the internet, understood the benefit of automation and how much time savings it could give us, and the efficiency and the effectiveness and the error reductions and things like that. And, the benefit of the internet with, having nearly every answer available to you at the push of a few buttons. So, that really, got me excited and continues to have me excited. But the flip side of that, I really see tech as an enabler. It's there to help us be more effective. It's there to help us be more efficient, but it can't replace human relationships. And I know we'll talk more about that over the course of our conversation here. So, it has its place. It has, moved the world forward tremendously over the last, let's call it 100 years, but accelerating with each passing year. But we also need to recognize its place as well.
And improving experience is the real reason why InMoment exists. But for people tuning in and hearing about InMoment for the first time, can you tell me a little bit more about the kind of problems that you're actually solving for your customers with technology and the mission that you're on as a company?
Yeah. So, we help our customers with an array of business challenges. It depends on their industry. It depends on their role. That might be helping a chief operating officer optimize real estate or payroll costs during the pandemic year. It might be helping a retail bank figure out how to become the primary financial institution for their customers across all of their financial needs and attract more customers. So that's really our mission is to help CX folks solve CX problems and to help business folks solve business problems. I think that's one of the challenges in the CX space right now is it can't be CX for CX sake. It has to be CX to an economic purpose for the organization.
And I am curious, have you seen this CX space shift over the course of the pandemic? And have you seen the needs of your customers evolve? Because it seems that it's a very different world now to what it was, 7 or 8 months ago?
Yeah, it surely is. I mean, CX has changed tremendously, as you well know, and you're based in the UK, I'm based in the US, so I'm sure there's some subtle differences there as well. But from our old lifestyle of shopping and dining out and carrying on to, now everything is delivered and curbside pickup and all of these things. But I think what really has happened is that it's accelerated things that were already underway and perhaps weren't shifting as quickly as maybe some of the fortune tellers, had predicted. So, for example, digital technologies and, companies have been languishing with digital transformation and suddenly you saw a lot of companies' digital transformations accelerate very quickly. Cashless payment is another one. People have been predicting the demise of cash for a long time, and while we're not there, if you look at the percentage of payments, it has heavily shifted digital over the course of 2020 and this pandemic. So, companies were really forced to compress their digital transformation efforts and their operational changes into a much shorter time frame. In terms of our clients' needs, I think over the last, call it 8 months, 10 months, I think we saw three major trends. One was this race to digital that I was talking about. So where and when and how do I better connect and engage with my customers in a digital fashion, since I can't do it face to face? While Agile and A/B testing obviously were around, I think we've seen that accelerate to a great degree. People are testing new operational ways of doing business and needing to measure new aspects of their customer experience. And so a lot more test and learn and a lot faster cycles on test and learn as it relates to that. And then I think the third thing that we really saw was a need for companies to get closer to their employees. So, often in the CX space, we talk about, hey, good employee experience leads to good customer experience, leads to financial outcomes. But I think in many ways, a lot of that was lip service. And I think during the pandemic, companies realized, hey, these frontline workers, they really are the lifeblood of our organization. They really are the heroes of the organization. And so we saw a lot of companies really reaching out to understand their needs and their comfort level, with servicing customers during the pandemic. And so, I'm hopeful that that's a trend that we're going to continue to see moving forward, when in a post-COVID world.
Completely agree with you. I think it was Microsoft said earlier this year that most companies have crammed 2 years worth of digital transformation efforts into 2 months. And
I would agree with that. I was thinking 5 to 5, but 2 to 2, yeah, 1 month for 1 year is probably realistic. So.
Yeah. And of course, it's not just about your customers having evolving needs, because as a business, you would have had to adapt and evolve too. And before you came on, I did learn a little bit more about how you rolled out a new suite of solutions aimed at the experience improvement to better meet your clients' shifting needs. But is that something you can expand on?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. We because of that race to digital that we talked about a minute ago, we launched a lot of new products this year, and that included a digital transformation suite, that was really a comprehensive solution for our customers across web, across social, across mobile applications that really help them understand, modernize, and optimize their digital experiences. That includes upgraded digital intercept products, different web integrations, social monitoring, and really trying to integrate all of the different ways that customers provide feedback to an organization into one area for understanding. The other thing that we launched was a lot of proprietary studies across essential industries like grocery and food service and other things to really understand customer needs and help organizations understand how well they were meeting their customers' needs given the changes that were happening month to month during the pandemic. So, lot of change and a lot of shift more towards measuring those digital experiences as well as those new physical experience, whether it's delivery or curbside pickup or what have you.
And of course, we're chatting in December now with one eye on 2021 already. And what do you see on the horizon? Presumably, listeners can expect a lot more change in the year ahead, but is there anything that you've observed?
Yeah, I absolutely. I mean, change has accelerated during COVID, and I think that's going to continue. So I think some of these trends we've been talking about will continue to grow and accelerate. Digital and e-commerce, is the way to shop today, and that's only going to continue to grow. Different ways to purchase products, different ways to deliver products. Cashless or contactless payment will continue to grow. So I think a lot of those things you're going to continue to see happen. I think the other big trend that has been happening that will continue to happen is companies are finally getting smarter about customers. We've been talking about CRM for 20 years, but the ability now for big data to digest feedback and transactional data from customers and integrate that all into one place is going to make companies smarter about their consumers and therefore be able to create the illusion of one-to-one relationships. Obviously a company can't serve millions of customers with millions of different unique solutions, but they can create the illusion of that with better customer knowledge. So I think you'll see that continue to get better. In terms of our product and our platform, we're going to continue to evolve and continue to change as well. We've got a number of things coming out in 2021. First, as it relates to helping customers better ingest and enrich that non-survey customer data or the non-survey customer feedback, whether that's website data, whether that's contact center calls, whether it's social media feedback, but being able to ingest all of that, enrich that, contextualize that, and give our clients a better 360-degree view of their customers. We've had a big push over the last couple of years and continue to enhance our text analytics capabilities, and our machine learning and artificial intelligence capabilities. And so while that has and continues to progress, what you'll see continue to get better is the tools and the ways our clients can explore that information and make better sense of it and derive better insights from that. So, better reporting suites and better reporting options and filtering options for that unstructured analysis, if you will. And then I think the third big way is really around cultural transformation. So how do you take the feedback that customers are giving a company and make that more visible in the C-suite, make that more visible to frontline workers, make that make people more aware of the feedback that customers are giving them, and then use that to drive more change in the organization. So, lots of exciting things still to come from us over the course of 2021 as well.
And there'll be many businesses planning and budgeting for 2021. So I'm curious, are there any trends in the kind of problems that your customers are coming to you and asking for your help with? And how are you dealing with those kind of challenges and helping them plan for next year?
Yeah, so I think the two big trends that we're seeing from a CX perspective is, we talked about how do you better meet customers' needs, but you can't always do that. So how can we predict what customer behavior is going to be, and how do we help enable the front line to understand what the next best action they can take is? So, if a customer has an issue or they have a customer standing in front of them, in the post-vaccine world, hopefully, how do we predict what their behavior is going to be and help educate that frontline worker on what the next action they should take is to improve the experience is one. And the other that we see is the C-suite is really starting to demand an ROI from CX efforts. So, it's been talked about for a while now, but I think the rubber has to meet the road in 2021 around, hey, we're talking about competing on customer experience, but what's that really netting us in terms of customer acquisition, customer retention, customer lifetime value, reducing our cost to serve. And that's really the other big thing that we're seeing customers ask about a lot is, help us tie this back to an economic outcome. And so we've rolled out a new brand positioning called Solve for X, and really understanding what our clients' X is. What's the business problem they're trying to solve for? Whether that's growth, whether that's cost cutting, whether that's customer retention and reducing customer churn. So really honing in on our clients, what their X is, and helping them solve that business problem.
And what I particularly love about your approach is how you're leveraging data, technology, and most importantly, human expertise too, all in a combination to achieve that business outcome that the customers need. But do you see leaders that don't get that and just simply replace people with tech are going to fall behind? Because the reality is you need all of it working together, right?
Yeah, you absolutely do need all of it working together. I'm a big believer that the human relationship is still and always will be critical. So yes, tech continues to get better. We continue to use it to get smarter about our customers. But at the end of the day, that human relationship still matters, right? Tech can make us smarter, but it doesn't have empathy. Tech can kind of overwhelm us with the amount of data. And so you still need the human expertise to interpret that and determine what the next best action is. So, to your question, I think there are leaders out there that see tech as a way to drive labor savings. Hey, I can cut staff, or I can reduce staff based on using technology. And I really think that's misguided. And I really think those are companies that may win in the short-term quarterly earnings race, but are certainly not going to win in the medium and long term with their customers, because people still value that human connection. People still value that human relationship. And I think in a post-COVID world, they're going to value that even more. It was taken away from us for 10 months, and that might be 18 months by the time the vaccine rolls out worldwide. And so people are going to crave that human connection again. So I think using tech to replace human human capability is really misguided.
I completely agree with you on that. And it has been a very long and turbulent year, to say the least. But what makes you hopeful and maybe even a little bit excited about the road ahead as we prepare to enter 2021?
Yeah, obviously the promise of vaccines, certainly helps. But as I said a minute ago, I'm a big believer that the human spirit is very resilient. People will come out of this hopeful, happy, with new ideas, with new energy. I think what's gotten me excited, back to your comments earlier about, Microsoft saying, hey, digital transformation has sped up, on the order of 1 month to 1 year. That's exciting, right? So we've now moved to a much more digital world where, we're all carrying supercomputers in our hands and in our pockets these days that can order us anything, that can get us any information that we want. We've created more flexible ways of serving customers, so whether that's in-store, whether that's delivery, whether that's pickup, and so all of that has really enabled easier transactions and easier experiences, but it will also elevate that human connection to be more value add, right? We think about our frontline workers, and I think, here's their opportunity to shine using this tech and the digital transformation, because now they're there to add value to the experience and not just facilitate a transaction. And so that's got me excited as well, is how does that change as we move forward? The other thing I would say there, and Bain's done a lot of research on this, to your earlier question about misguided leadership, the winners coming out of this are going to be those that have really listened to and learned from their customers during this period and really invested for the future. So look, the reality is so many businesses have really struggled. Many businesses, the smaller ones, will fail. But I think the companies that hunkered down and tried to save every penny they could are going to come out of this much more slowly than the companies that figured out, yes, I can save money here, but I need to invest for the future over here. So those companies that have spent some time investing in their future over the last 6 or 8 months are going to be the ones that win in the short term coming out of this pandemic.
Love that. And for everyone listening that would like to delve a little bit deeper into this subject and how the CX space is evolving and the great work that you're doing, what's the best way of finding you online and equally contacting your team if they are left with any questions? I just want to carry this conversation on. Yeah,
thank you, Neil. I appreciate that. You can certainly find me, Eric Smuda, on LinkedIn, SMUDA. And, in InMoment, there's a lot of material. There's a lot of information on how we're helping companies solve for X, and that's www.inmoment.com.
I love chatting with you today, not just about how the CX space has shifted over the course of the pandemic, as well as what you see on the horizon, but I think the moment that you ended on there, talking about how humans are so resilient and we're craving that human connection and those human relationships more than ever. And I think as soon as we hit the ground running in 2021, those are the things that we're going to be looking at, as well as combining it with technology to make the boat go quicker, so they say. But more than anything, just a big thank you for sharing that story with me today, Eric.
No, my pleasure, Neil. Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be part of your podcast.
I love how Eric and his team there are helping their clients improve experiences, all at the intersection of value where customer, employee, and business needs all come together, and all through that unique combination of data, technology, and human expertise. And we often hear about data and technology, but I think it's those three elements by adding in the human expertise that is so crucial, especially after a year where we've all lacking those real face-to-face human connections and human relationships. We are more resilient than ever, but we do crave that. And I think that's where the sweet spot is, where all the good stuff happens. But I'm curious, how have you seen the CX space evolve this year? And how are you or your business planning on evolving further next year in 2021? Any observations, insights, expertise, questions, whatever it may be, email me now, techblogwriter@outlook.com. If you need help launching your podcast or managing your thought leadership blogs, business blogs, whatever it might be, go to my website, techblogwriter.co.uk, where you'll find over 1,400 interviews along with the different ways that you can work with me too. But that's it for today. I'll see you all again tomorrow for another episode. If not, don't worry. Just a big thank you for listening. And until next time, don't be a stranger.
Thank you for listening to the Tech Talks Daily Podcast with Neil C. Hughes. Remember, technology works best when it brings people together.